students, my name is Nisha Malik and I am your social science teacher. Today we are going to deal with class 7, subject social science, chapter 1, and the topic is when, where and how. Okay, so let's start with the chapter. We all know that what is history, isn't it? History is the study of the past, okay, in a sequential order or in a chronological manner. Okay, we should always remember that history we should study in the realms of when, where and how. We should always study history in the realm of when, where and how. When the incident happened, where did it happen and how did it happen. Okay. So basically in this chapter we will be studying medieval history. In this chapter we are going to deal with medieval history. The time period from 8th century to 18th century. Okay. This phase is further divided into two parts. That is 8th century to 18th century. Okay. 8th to 12th century is the first phase, which is known as early medieval period, and 13th to 18th century, that is the late medieval period. Okay. So in the early medieval period, we are going to study about the Cholas, the Chola dynasty, the Palas, the Rashtrakutas and the Rajputs. And similarly, in the later medieval period, we will be studying about the Turks, that is the Turkish people, the Turks, the Afghans and the Mughals. Okay. For the purpose of this study, we have to limit ourselves to the territory of India. For the purpose of studying the medieval history, we should limit ourselves to the territory of India. Okay, we will be studying about Indian territories. How did India get its name? So now comes how did India get its name? Get its name. There are many points, okay, how India got its name. The first is, in the past, India has been known by different names by different people at various times. First of all, it was named as Saptasindhu or, it was named as Saptasindhu or the area around the 7 rivers. So, first it was named as Saptasindhu, the area surrounded by 7 rivers. So these rivers were the Indus, the Kabul, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Satluj. Okay. Then Persian explorers visited the area. The H in the Persian is similar to the S in the Sanskrit. Okay. The H letter, the letter H in Persian language is similar to letter S in Sanskrit. So basically, in Sanskrit, the name was given Sindhu. So we know that S is similar to H. So therefore, Persians said it as Hindu. And thus, the name came Hindu. Okay. The second is, in the Rig Vedas, which is as old as about 3500 years, okay, there was a reference of a king named Bharata, okay, who conquered a large territory of India and therefore the name was given as Bharatas or Bharatvarsha. Again, the second is, the name was given as Bharata, Bharatas or Bharat Varsha after the king Bharat. The third is, the name given was Hindustan. was given by Persians. Okay. The third is name was given Hindustan by Persians. Okay. In Persian language, Stan is equal to Sanskrit Sthana, and in Sanskrit Sthana means place, and we have already studied that Persians named it as Hindu. So from Sanskrit Sthana means place, therefore the name was given Hindustan. Okay. The land to the east of the Indus came to be called Hindustan. Okay, from Indus we know that Indus flows from Pakistan, isn't it? The land to the east of the Indus, that is Indian territory or Indian subcontinent, was named as Hindustan by Persians and Arabs. The term Hindustan is also found in the writings of Minhaj-e-Siraj. Minhaj-e-Siraj was a chronicler, okay, of the 13th century, where he described it as the land between the Ganga and the Yamuna. Okay, he used it in the political sense for lands which were part of the Delhi Sultanate. It was never delineated to the south. These regions were never delineated to the south. It was only the north of India, and they never mentioned it about the south of India. Okay. In the 14th century, there was a poet named Amir Khusrau. Okay. He mentioned the words Hind. Okay, but it did not specify any boundary. He did not specify any boundary, but he named it as Hind. Later on, Babur, the famous Mughal king, he also used the word Hindustan. So these were some of the people who used the word Hindustan or Hind or Sindh, whatever it was. Okay. The name India came to English usage from the 17th century onwards. The modern name, that is India, came in the 17th century. 17th century, it was named as India. Okay. By the influence of the Latin or Spanish. By the influence of Latin and Spanish, the name India was given in the 17th century. Okay. Now we will talk about the sources of history. What are the different sources of history? So these are the 4 points which explain how India got its name. Okay. Now we will study about the different sources. What are the different sources? Sources of history. We all know that there are many sources which tells us about our ancient period, isn't it? So we will talk about the sources of history. The first is buildings and monuments. In the medieval time, different types of buildings were built, okay, and had a historical importance. For example, temples, mosques, forts, tombs, palaces were constructed. Okay, they were studied carefully, and from there we get information about the past people. Okay, the important forts and palaces were the Red Fort, the Agra Fort, the Gwalior Fort, the Palace of Jaipur and Jaisalmer. Okay, then important mosques during that period of time were Jama Masjid, Moti Masjid, temples like Brihadeshwara Temple at Tanjore, Khajuraho in Madhya Pradesh, Sun Temple at Konar, Dilwara Temple, Golden Temple, etc. Then tombs like Humayun's tomb, Taj Mahal, etc. Other monuments beside the other mentioned above buildings, there were like Qutub Minar, Char Minar, Victory Tower, etc. were also constructed. Then coins. Coins also give us it tells us about various rulers and the time period in which they evolved. Okay, so the first was the building of monuments. And the second is coins. Coins tells us a lot about the people during that particular period of time. It tells about the date and the time period about the kings. Okay. Then metals used in the coins during that particular period of time tells us about the socio-economic condition of that kingdom or empire. Okay. Now we'll talk about biographies and autobiographies. biographies and autobiographies. So what are biographies? Biographies are basically the historical records about a person which is written by someone else. Okay, so we'll talk about biographies. What are biography? Okay, a life history of a person written by someone other than the individual himself. Okay, it is the life history of someone else written by different people. And autobiography is a biography written by a person about himself. Okay, this is the difference between biographies and autobiographies. This is written by someone else, and autobiographies are written by the person himself about his personal views and about his personal things. Okay. Biographies and autobiographies of ruler give an insight into the ruler's life and socio-economic and political life during that period. It tells us about the socio-economic, political as well as the personal life of the people. For example, Ain Akbari, which is one of the best examples, written by Abul Fazl, gives an insight into the Akbar's administration. So this was basically a biography which was written by Abul Fazl, Ain Akbari, about the Akbar's administration. Then Tuski Jahangir, which was written by Jahangir himself, and it was an autobiography because it was written by himself. Okay. Then the next is Baburnama. Baburnama, which was written by Babur himself. It is also an autobiography. Similarly, we come to know about Prithviraj from Prithviraj Raso, written by Chand Bardar. So this is basically a biography, okay, written by Chand Bardar about Prithviraj. Thus, biographies and autobiographies are our descriptive sources which tells us about the people of that particular period. Then we will talk about the travelogues. Who are travelogues? What are these travelogues? A number of foreign travelers visited India during medieval time and have left an account of what they observed. A number of travelers from different countries visited, from foreign lands, visited India, and they wrote whatever they observed or saw in that particular period. Okay. It really helped us to know about the India of that period. Their accounts, their writings tells us about the India during that period. Okay. Some of the people who wrote travelogues are Ibn Battuta about Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Ibn Battuta wrote about Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Then Marco Polo, he wrote about South India. Al-Biruni about Balban, and Abdul Razak about the Vijayanagar kingdom. So these were the travelers who traveled these particular places and wrote account of what they found or what they observed. The next is paintings and artifacts. Paintings and artifacts helps us a lot in revealing or telling us about the ancient period, isn't it? Paintings, artifacts and descriptions of music and cultural aspect tells us about the culture of the medieval period. We also have other sources like religious literature, inscriptions and various documents which were either the orders of the rulers or land recorders or the correspondence between the rulers which help in reconstructing the history of the medieval period. Okay, paintings and artifacts were very much important and it also helped us in knowing our past. For the medieval times, we have a lot of written accounts, but historians face a lot of difficulties. We have many records about the medieval period, but historians face lots of difficulties in knowing and understanding them. Okay, so what are the different problems faced by historians? Problems faced by historians. Okay, the first is quality of sources. Okay, in past records were maintained for daily use or for immediate use, but that particular piece of work faded with time, isn't it? So quality degraded with the passing time. So records were maintained for the immediate use and not for the people to interpret 8,000 years after they were discovered. Okay, the following aspects also affect the quality of sources. So what are the aspects? There were no printing machines. So there were basically no printing machine during that period. Okay, no common language existed. There was no common language. Okay, each and every region had their own inscriptions were derived from stones, metal, parchment, barks and papers. The material used for inscriptions were derived from the stones. Okay. With time they had eroded in quality and faded in color. With time these sources faded in color and also got degraded in quality. As copying was not with the help of carbon papers or reprints. There were no copying machine during that period of time. So there was variation in versions. Okay, one version was not available or one common language was not used. So the same particular thing was available in different languages and in different versions. Okay. Now interpretation of sources. So what was the difficulty of historian in interpreting the sources? Interpretation of sources. It is an extremely difficult task to understand a script which is not currently in use. It is very difficult to understand the script or the manuscripts which were written in the past as because they are not in use in the modern time, isn't it? So we face very difficulty in exploring these writings. Even more difficult is to understand words and phrases which are not in use in the modern language. It is very difficult for us to know about the phrases or about the word which is not in the modern use. Okay. There are discrepancies in understanding and interpretation of things which were written in those times. There are various difficulties in understanding the things or the written things which were in the older times. Therefore, it is not easy to reconstruct historical happening. Okay, so basically there were no calendars, there was no dates, okay, there were no clock and timing was also not accurate. Then the places and the identity was also not accurate because maps were not developed properly during that period. Okay, it is due to these variations in understanding that historians have been very choosy and very careful in understanding, interpreting and reconstructing things of the past for our understanding. Okay, now we will talk about the highlights of the medieval period in India. So what were the highlighted things? We all know as the settlements grew in size, that is because the population grew in numbers. Okay, trends changed, technology started growing. Trend changed, that is people started growing in numbers, that's why settlements also grew in size. Then people started traveling from one place to another in search of food and shelter. This caused cutting down of jungles and growth of agriculture. Due to this, what happened? People started cutting or clearing of the forest cover and started practicing agriculture. Okay, many tribals also started mixing with the settlement people. Many tribal people or the tribal people started mixing with other people in the villages. Okay. People from different settlements in different regions traveled to other regions, saw different cultures. So basically there was intermixing of religion during, intermixing of culture during that period of time. Okay, this led to technological advancement and trade started between places. So because of the cultural exchange and mix of culture, what happened? Trade started happening. Development of travel and trade. So second is development of travel and trade. So travel and trade started developing during that period. Okay, gradually people started moving from one place to another and there was mixing of culture, as a result of which people started travel and trade among themselves. Gradually people started traveling to more distant places and travelers from Persia, Arabia, China and other distant foreign lands started visiting and exploring places. Okay, the voyages and travelers helped to develop trade and exchange of items from different regions or far-flung places. Okay, what happened? Goods started exchanging from one place to another. The messages of the levels of prosperity in this region traveled wide and trade increased. So what happened? Trade started increasing and it started gradually developing. Okay. The second is social changes. So what were the social changes which we witnessed? Social changes. So social changes basically deals with the caste or class discrimination. Social changes deal with caste or class discrimination. which was very prevalent during that period. The complex rituals and superstitious beliefs started growing because of this Jati Pratha. Okay, so basically superstitious beliefs started, like we call it Andhavishwas. Okay, so that started prevailing during this social changes. Okay, then the society started adding subcaste to the already divided caste. So basically we know that Jati Pratha was there. Again, this was subdivided into lower sections. Okay, it was subdivided. The subclasses of Jatis varied in position and power from place to place. So what happened? These Jatis were different in occupation or were leveled according to the occupational pattern. Each one had its own rules and regulations. Each Jati had their own set of rules and regulations which they had to follow. Okay, each Jati had their head or panchayat. So each and every Jati or caste had their own set of rules and they had their own head, or which is known as panchayat. Okay. Then the religious changes. What were the religious changes which took place? Religious changes. Religion started gaining importance in the medieval period. Okay, religion started gaining much importance. Brahmins were taken as the intermediary between the god and the human beings. Okay, Brahmins were the middle person between which connect human beings from God. Okay, they started gaining control over society as they were the ones who had knowledge and wisdom. They started gaining importance in the society as because they were considered as intermediary between God and human beings. They connected human with God. Okay, so they had knowledge and wisdom, and that is why they were in great demand. New deities come to be worshipped. In that period, new deities or new gods and goddesses came to be worshipped. Gradually, the trade and travel from the Arab brought cultural changes with them, and there was growth of Islam. Okay, Islam grew during this period of time in Indian region. Okay, later the Mughals came into India and started ruling. Again, what happened? Mughals came to India and started ruling, and the Islamic religion came into being. Okay, the mix of religions had both advantages and disadvantages. So basically, people from Arab, they came mixed with people of India. So what happened? There was advantages as well as disadvantages. So what were the advantages and disadvantages? While people can learn from each other by mixing of culture and religion, people could learn many things from each other, but at the same time, okay, they can also be divided by. Okay, so this is what happened in the society, and the society started getting divided into religious lines. So the mixing of people caused advantages, but again there was religious conflict which was also considered as disadvantage. Okay, because of this religious conflict, saints and Sufis came in to preach harmony and tolerance. Okay, then political developments. What were the political developments? The period we are studying extended over nearly 1,000 of years. The changes in society were gradual and definite. The changes which took place in the society was very gradual or slow, and it was definite in nature. A group of people who emerged as leaders were Rajputs. So this period of time we saw the emergence of Rajputs. Okay, the name basically was derived from the word Rajputra. Rajputs were basically the Rajputra. Okay, or the son of rulers. As they were considered to be protectors of society, they were expected to have hereditary trait of bravery and sense of loyalty. As because they were considered as the son of rulers, so they have the hereditary trait of bravery. They were considered as brave people. They developed a reputation of valor and as a brave warrior. They were brave warriors, and this section of society was settled predominantly in the northern region of India. They basically, Rajputs settled in the northern part of India. In other parts of the country, the Marathas, the Sikhs, the Jats, they also politically became important, and they were basically the martial races who were brave warriors. In the south, okay, the Chola, the Gujaras, the Pratiharas, Palas and Rashtrakuta gained importance. In the south, these dynasties gained importance. From the 12th century onwards, the Turk, the Afghans and the Mughals came from outside. As we have already known, from 12th century we have the late medieval period, isn't it? So from that period, the Afghans, the Turks, the Mughals came to India. Now cultural developments. So what were the cultural developments? Cultural development. The mix of people from various parts of the world, their religion and tradition had an effect on the cultural scene as well. Cultural development, when people started mixing with each other, so there was cultural transmission among the people. Okay. There was a major influence on the pattern of fooding and clothing. So because of the interchange of this culture, okay, people started or changed their food habit, their clothing, everything. Okay. The consumption of meat, spices increased. The consumption of meat, spices from these Mughals, the Turks, okay, they helped us in this consumption of meat, okay, spices. Then the clothes saw a changes. First of all, we know that we used first cotton clothes, okay. Again, it changed into silk and again into embroidered clothes, isn't it? So it shows how things change with time. The royal class promoted their interest in various forms of entertainments. Various forms of entertainments were also seen, and thus the society saw many changes. The various forms of dancing and music changed and grew because of interchange of this cultural thing. Okay, there was change in the form of dance, art, architecture, literature, everything. Newer forms like Kathak, Qawwali got introduced. Okay. The architecture of building also saw a change. See, architecture and building or monuments also saw a change. The color, the use of stones, the design, the material, everything changed with passing time. Then language like Urdu and Persian grew in popularity because of the invent of Mughals, languages like Urdu and Persian was popularized. Okay, the medieval period saw large-scale changes in the Indian subcontinent. Huge or vast amount of changes were seen in the medieval period. Okay, the growth was phenomenal. Okay, and because of this, the European travels were attracted to India because of these medieval changes witnessed in the medieval period. And in medieval period, Europeans also came from Europe to India, and then trade started in this period. With this, we complete our chapter. Okay, we'll be moving to question answers. Okay, so now we'll start with the exercise portion. A. Choose the correct option. Number 1. Indian history of the medieval time began from option 1. 6th century CE, 2. 7th century CE, 3. 10th century CE, and 4. 8th century CE. The answer is 4. 8th century CE. The second is early medieval history is from 8th to 12th century CE, 13th to 18th century CE, 8th to 10th century CE, and 8th to 15th century CE. The answer is 8th to 12th century CE. The land to the east of the Indus came to be called Hindustan by the Greeks, Persians, Arabs, both 1 and 2. The answer is both 1 and 2. Which Veda has the reference to a name of a king named Bharat? Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda. The answer is Rig Veda. Ali-Akbari was written by Chand Bardai, Abul Fazl, Minhaji Saraj, none of these. The answer is Abul Fazl. Prithviraj Rasu was written by Abul Fazl, Babur, Jahangir, Chand Bardai. The answer is Chand Bardai. Number 7, we come to know about Muhammad bin Tughlaq from the account written by Abdul Razak, Al-Biruni, Ibn Battuta, Marco Polo. The answer is Ibn Battuta. We come to know about Balban from the accounts given by Marco Polo, Al-Biruni, Ibn Battuta, Abdul Razak. The answer is Al-Biruni. Sun Temple is located at Amritsar, Madhya Pradesh, Konar, Kanchipuram. The answer is Konar. Ali-Akbari gives us an insight of Babur's administration, Humayun's administration, Akbar's administration, and Jahangir's administration. The answer is Akbar's administration. Abdul Razak wrote about South India, Vijayanagar Kingdom, Western India, Bengal and Assam. He wrote about Vijayanagar Empire or Vijayanagar Kingdom. The court language of the Mughal was Hindi, Sanskrit, Persian, Urdu. The answer is Persian. Cholas gained importance in North India, South India, West India, East India. The answer is South India. Now we move on to fill in the blanks. Later medieval period is from dash to dash century CE. The answer is 13th to 18th century CE. Okay. The next question is, in earlier times there were no dash maps. There were no surveyed maps. The region of Indian subcontinent extended from Afghanistan to dash, Afghanistan to Myanmar. Number 4, the name India came to English usage from the dash century onwards, 17th century onwards. Abdul Razak wrote about the dash kingdom, the Vijayanagara kingdom. Now state whether the statements are true or false. In the later medieval period of Indian history, we study about Turks, Afghans and Mughals. True. The H in the Persian is similar to I in Sanskrit. False. Prithviraj Rasu was written by Abul Fazl. False. Historians face lot of difficulties in reading the various sources. True. Saints and Sufis preached harmony in the society. True. Now match the following column. Okay, column A and column B. Amir Khusrau, okay, was a poet. Brihadeshwara temple, it is in Tanjore. Babar Nama was written by Babar. Al-Biruni has written Balban. Abul Razak wrote about Vijayanagara kingdom, and Prithviraj Rasu was written by Chand Bardai. So now we move on to question answers. Answer the following questions in very brief. Okay, here are the questions. Number 1, what do we study in the early medieval period of history? The answer is the early medieval period started from the 8th century CE to 12th century CE. In the early medieval period, we study about the Cholas, Palas, Rashtrakutas and Rajputs. The second question is, how did Minaji Siraj explain the term Hindustan? The answer is, the term Hindustan was found in the writings of Minaji Siraj, a chronicler of the 13th century, where he described it as a land between the Ganga and the Yamuna. Number 3, list 5 forts built during the medieval times. The answer is, the 5 forts built during the medieval period are Red Fort, Agra Fort, Gwalior Fort, Golconda Fort and Mandu Fort. Question number 4. What are coins considered as important sources of information? Answer. Coins were issued by various rulers which depict the date and at time shows the picture of the rulers. Metals used in these coins tells us about the economic status of the kingdom. Question number 5. Name some of the foreign travelers who visited India during the medieval period. The answer is, the foreign travelers who visited India during the medieval period were Ibn Battuta, Marco Polo, Al-Biruni and Abdul Razak. And the last question is, what type of changes took place in the society during the medieval period? The answer is, medieval period witnessed the division of caste. The caste discrimination, also known as Jati Pratha, grew. Society started adding subcastes to the already dividing castes. These subcastes varied in position and power from place to place. Okay. So now we will move on to answer the following question in detail. Okay. So F, answer the following questions in details. Question number 1. How has the name of India undergone a change over a period of time? Explain. Okay. This answer we will get in page number 4. How India got its name. Okay. All these points you will have to write. The second is, list the various aspects that affected the quality of source in the study of history. The answer is in page number 6. Problems faced by historians under the subtopic quality of sources. Okay, the following aspects affected the quality of sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the 5 points. Okay, question number 3. What difficulties are faced by historians in understanding the manuscripts? The answer is in page number 7 in the subheading Interpretation of Sources. Okay. From historians. Historians find differences in copies and different versions which give out conflicting information till here. Till not accurate. Okay, and again from the second paragraph, it is due to this variation in understanding that historians have to be very meticulous in understanding, interpreting and reconstructing things of the past, till past. Now question number 4, what kind of religious changes took place in the medieval period? Page number 8, under the subtopic religious changes. Okay. From the starting point itself, religion started gaining importance and this led to construction of many temples. Brahmins started gaining importance till God and humans. Okay. Again from second paragraph, gradually the trade and travelers from the Arabs world brought cultural changes till regions. Again third point, later the Mughals came into India and started ruling till religious leanings. Okay. And the last one, due to these religious changes or religious conflicts, that saints and Sufis came into being to preach harmony and tolerance. Till here, till tolerance. You'll have to write 4 points. Number 5, what major political development took place in the medieval period? The answer is in page number 8 under the subheading political development. Okay. You will start from here. A group of people who emerged as leaders were the Rajputs. Okay. Then after that, they were, from here, as they were considered to be protectors of the society, they were expected to have the hereditary traits of bravery and sense of loyalty. Okay. Again from here, leave one line, omit this line. This section of society was settled predominantly in the northern regions of the country. Again, second point, in other parts of the country, okay, till brave warriors. This whole paragraph. Then third point, in the south till gained importance. This is third point. And the last point is from 12th century onwards till rule over some of them till here. So you'll have to write 4 points. So with this we complete our first chapter. Thank you.